Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Djuma Game Reserve, part of the Sabi Sand, here in South Africa, in the Greater Kruger National Park. Now, my name is Patrick. Joining me behind camera today is Seb. And if you have any questions or any comments throughout this broadcast, please do send them in using that hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or the YouTube chat stream. Now, I have kind of been looking for leopards. I've been following a couple of tracks, but they've both gone quite cold and haven't really come up with anything too fruitful. So I think what the plan is now is to stop doing that and start doing something else. So I'm going to head up kind of around the Buffelshoek area, just have a look around there, and on the way there also I'm going to have a look around the Voyatella Dam, because Tingana was there last night and I did hear that he had a kill on quarantine, but that is the last I heard about that, so I'll come and investigate that as well. I was with him last night for about the last 5 minutes or so of drive, and we lost him just about as soon as we found him. But he was definitely heading towards quarantine, and it wasn't long after that that we did hear that he had made a kill. It's been quite a strange day weather-wise. It's been one of those days where one second you're feeling cold and the next second you're feeling warm, but right now it is currently very warm indeed. And it's also quite quiet around here. I did find some Inyala earlier, and apart from that there hasn't been a whole lot happening out here on the property, but I will find us something, I am sure, and someone else who I'm sure will definitely find something, whether it be big or small, is Jamie, who is on foot.
Very good afternoon to you all, and welcome to the regular portion of this Sunset Safari. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon Darby is on camera with me. Darby says hello. It's quite sweet, actually, because you probably can't hear him. And we are out on bushwalk, and I have to say I'm loving the weather at the moment. It's not too hot, so you know, for us to be out on walk in the afternoon, which is a beautiful time of day at this this portion of the year, I really enjoy. I mean, it's really not warm at all. Or maybe we just acclimatized. But Darby, what do you think? It's a perfect temperature. It's a really nice temperature to go bounding about the bush on foot in the afternoon. So we're sort of tracking Tingana, kind of. He's a male leopard. I saw him last night on the open area when I went home. And he's come across in this way. We've just heard from the guys that his tracks go all the way to Gowrie, Main, which is the southern boundary of Djuma. So we're going to sort of meander that way and then probably sprint home, because it's going to get dark quickly. So we're going to go all the way down there, and then we're going to test out my theory on temperatures and walk home at roughly double this pace, give or take. We've been talking about animal habitats this afternoon. We were doing that because that's what the kids this afternoon have been focusing on with their studies. But I find it fascinating. Obviously, when we teach kids, we make it, well, I have to, in a way, we kind of make it overly simplistic. These animals live here and these animals live here. But of course, I saw Tingana on an open area of quarantine. And you find that the animals move about a great deal in areas such as this, and you've got all of these dynamics at play, and I would love to be able to create a learning graphic thing that would be able to describe that you don't have the lions live here and the leopards live there and the hyenas live there. Everything overlaps, overflows, and is basically created by territories or governed by territories. And I think it would be really, really a nice way to teach kids about how there are the water holes, there are the paths that lead to water holes. What does a habitat really mean? You don't just find kudu in the thickets. And you don't just find leopards in the thickets. Sometimes they walk across the open area. Often they walk across the open area. But then, of course, you don't find elephants in Antarctica either. So, perhaps simplifying is the way to go. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to cover a little bit of ground. While we do that, let's go across to the vehicles, who can cover a lot more ground than we can, and probably much quicker.
Have a little more ground, although I do envy. Oh, squirrel, please don't be a hare and run towards a car. A little tree squirrel that decided to take, but we are definitely bigger. But yes, the bush is so much better being on foot and being able to be up close and personal. But with the vehicle, we can cover more ground and see what is happening out here. We did have fresh tracks of elephants, 2 elephant bulls coming into our property. We're going to try to do a loop around and see if we can pick them up. But first, I just want to check one of the other watering holes here to see if maybe they've come back down to here. But half the time I come to this watering hole, I don't seem to find anything. But nope. We're just going to do a quick sweep with the camera. If you see anything, let me know. I'm just going to pick up my binos and see if I can pick it up. See if anything is browsing out there. What killed? Sorry, there was a question coming through and it threw me completely off guard. Did I hear that right? Oh, I just heard something completely bad. Sorry. Are you asking if I know what killed Tingana or what Tingana killed? I heard, do you know what killed Tingana? And that threw me off completely. What kill has Tingana got? I am not too sure. I didn't even know Tingana made a kill. So that is an update for me. But I can find out because I was on handheld and I switched off the main radio because I was in and out of the vehicle just now for the kids' drive. So yes, I can find out shortly if what is happening with Tingana. The radio is busy, but I will get back to that shortly. So there's nothing out at this pan right now. But does anyone there know where Tingana, when did Tingana make a kill? If it's a day old, 2 days old? It's funny how the information gets spread out more quickly through the social media than it does to the people who actually live here and work here. But yes, I'm not too sure at all, but I will follow up and find out. Either myself or Pat or Jamie will follow up and see what kill Tingana's got. I would like to see him. Oh, he made a kill in quarantine. Okay, no, I do not know any of this information. So FCS is saying Jamie is on the way to where Tingana made a kill. And I'm not too sure. It is on quarantine. It's an area just outside of camp. So that's easier for Jamie to get there. You asked if I've got an update of the hyenas. Sadly, I don't. We are going to go there, myself or Pat, later on this evening to catch up on them. I haven't seen them in a few days, and I really to get a bit closer at the time. I did speak. And he said he wanted to go to them. Whoa. It's a martial eagle. I'm just going to go ahead a little bit. There's a very large bird of prey up in the tree here, which it looks like a martial eagle. Martial eagle. Okay. I'm just going to get past these trees. It is one of our largest birds of prey we have here. And there is something I need to apologize for. Yes. Okay, I'm stopping here. There we go. I hope Craig can get.
Okay, so we do apologise for any gremlins experienced there. So I have been told by Seb that Tingana has actually crossed into, or had actually crossed into Little Gowrie, so that cancels out going to follow up on anything around there. So I am just going to kind of bumble along and make my way up north and see what I can get along the way. I've been, yesterday I really did enjoy stopping for a lot of different things, and so I will be keeping an eye out for different things. Something that's not different is that ring-necked dove that just flew off the road. It's very, very ambiguous to be this place. We did just have a nice little encounter with an animal I can't speak of in a location that is unknown. So I need to start filling in the leopard checklist, I think. I've only got, so far since being back, Tandi and Tingana. So there's still quite a few left to see. I think probably top priority at the moment would be the hook, plainly for Orly's sake, because of how, because of his obsession with him and his incessant need for me to go out and find him. And so I would like to see Hukamori. Tararamba as well. I haven't seen Princess Tararamba for quite some time. And also, I've never seen Shadulu actually. Never in my life. So that would also be quite nice. And only seen 2 Avoca males in terms of lions. Obviously I was very, very spoiled for lions in the Mara. But just the 2 Avocas. What's this? Oh, just some impala. Just some impala. Hello. No, don't worry about me. Just go about your feeding. That's I was just about to say it's strange this time of year to see some females without a male accompanying them, but then that male just jumped out right in front of me just as I thought it. Right down on the southern boundary now. Actually, while I am down this way, I think I might actually... No, do you know what? I'll head up the western side. That's what my gut's telling me at the moment. So I'm going, the eastern. I'm going to head up the eastern boundary. And yeah, as I was saying, I was going to make my way up north, kind of towards Buffalo's Hook Dam area. I think that will still be the plan. Just following my gut right now, which sometimes is the best thing to do. It's a strange thing to see out here. A small kind of hatchback car. It looks quite new. I don't think I'd be driving that around here. So it's weird being back in Juma actually and not hearing the constant calling of the woodland kingfisher. When I left, they were pretty much at their peak in that you would be hearing them all the time, and now there is not actually one to be heard since I've been back. So there's definitely a lot of changes taking place at the moment from last time I was here towards now. Alright, well, I'm going to keep on the direction of my gut and see what I can come up with, and in the meantime, let's send you over to Rusty.
Well, I do apologize about the crash cut earlier. It disappeared, or I disappeared. It was just a bad place, but I got so excited, I completely lost track of where I was going, and I ended up in a dead zone. But we did see a martial eagle. It was brief. It took off down to this valley here, and I'm just trying to see if I can pick it up. But we have to try to stay high up and look down to see if we can find any of its white plumage. But it doesn't look like it. There's many other birds here, but no martial eagle. I'm way too excited about this, so I think all the little critters are going to be pushed out the way. Even if we see an elephant, I'm going to pass it and try see if we can find this martial eagle again. It didn't look like it was going very far. It came down, took off, and then flew down to the valley, then looked like it rose again to land. I just don't know where. Just hopefully it's still around. Talking about eagles, did anyone who was viewing us the other day when we did the Safari Lives episode on Monday, and I need to do a massive apology for my misidentification of a certain eagle that was shown on my video clip. It was the steppe eagle that was completely misidentified as it was a Wahlberg's eagle that was misidentified as a steppe eagle. So I do apologize about that. I watched that clip so many times, I didn't even think twice. I had so many notes written up about it. I just brushed it off as, yes, it's a steppe eagle. But we do apologize about that. That was completely my fault when it came to doing that. And I did a whole piece about a steppe eagle, which wasn't actually in the case a steppe eagle at all. So I do apologize for anyone who saw that. There was a big debate about it yesterday, and I don't do Twitter. I do not have a Twitter account, so I did not hear any of the write-up. So still no sign of this marshal. I'm just looking at tracks. McRambo, you're asking what type of owls we have here. Now, we've got quite a few different species. We've got the little owlets, we've got the pearl-spotted, we've got the barred, we have got the white-faced scops owls, we have the barn owl, we have the spotted eagle owl, we have the giant eagle owl, which we often see and hear. And the spotted eagle owl is also very common around here. And yeah, we have a variety of different owls. We always love to see them, especially the little fellas, the little owls, the little owlets, because they're quite entertaining and quite marvelous to look at. Those facial features are absolutely stunning when it comes to birds. And especially in daylight hours, like the little pearl-spotted that is active during the day. If you catch one out on the branch and actually sit still long enough for us to view it, it is quite a special moment. We know most of the larger owls are roosting at the moment in quite thick bush along the riverine bushes, trees along there. So it's often when we go walking along there, you'll find we accidentally bump them up the trees and they fly, and then all the diurnal birds go absolutely crazy because these owls are not allowed to move. It seems to be like a rule. It's like these night owls should not move, and if we disturb them, then the tailed drongos, everything just goes a bit crazy trying to warn everyone that there's an owl around, when owls don't really play a major threat to a lot of these birds, unless it's to a chick in a nesting site, which doesn't really happen. It is always a special treat for us, and I'm sure for you, when we find an owl. But I'm also trying to follow up on these tracks of these two elephants that came into this area. And they often come through this section where I am now. So that is what my plan is, to see if we can find tracks, or at least the individuals that made these tracks. In the meantime, let's go over to Pat, who has got a very small creature for you.
Well, look what we have stumbled upon here. A dwarf mongoose doing two uncharacteristic things. A, being out on its own, and B, sitting very, very still for us. So I can see the rest of the business being the name given to a group of collective mongoose. They are off in the grass, kind of maybe 5 or 10 metres, so about 15 to 30 feet from where we are. No, 45 to 60 feet from where we are, sorry. And, well, it's just, I'm not really sure what it's doing. I guess just chilling. The rest seem to be very active. I can see the grass moving around a lot. And this one just sitting on the outside. So why it is so unusual to see this one by itself is because they are a very cooperative species. They are the smallest of the mongoose and also one of the most social. So they will be kind of like the banded mongoose, I guess, in that they live together. And with the dwarf mongoose, they have an alpha pair. So their social structure is almost as that of a wild dog, in that there's an alpha mating pair, and the rest of the unit is doing various roles, such as helping to defend the territory, helping it to rear the young, and also helping it to locate food. I've never seen one so still in my life. I would like to hazard a guess as what it is doing. Maybe something to do with the social makeup. Perhaps it's been in a fight and lost. Or Miss Elamandris, I would say probably more meditation than yoga. It's staying very still. There we go, now it's starting to move about a bit. But completely unfazed by us. We're probably only, maybe 4 or 5 metres, about 15 feet, maybe a little less. This is great. I'm thoroughly enjoying this. We do get to have experiences like this a bit at camp. There are a few that kind of hang around the outskirts of the camp, and they have become a bit used to us walking around. And so unless you get very close to them, they generally won't really be bothered with your presence. And so you can sit there, and if you sit very still, you can just stare at them for quite some time. And it's quite cool to see them all kind of interacting and walking about and just going on missions. They're a very, very active animal. Oh, I can see another one. I don't know if we can get that there. Can you see that one there, Seb? It's just up in the branch, pretty much dead on 3 o'clock. About
that log there, just check your monitor.
Oh yeah.
That log.
No. So up a bit, just straight up from that log, yeah. So there it is.
Oh, there.
Yeah. So there's another one. Again, staying quite still. They're not 100% arboreal, but you will see them in trees every now and again. I actually, very embarrassingly, I think it was possibly my first drive out here in Juma when I didn't know the bush at all, I saw one in a tree and called it a tree squirrel, and James probably will never let me live that one down. But I mean, I quickly learned never to make that mistake again. I actually learned my mongooses, all of them, after that. Because there are a lot of similarities between these dwarf mongoose and the banded. Not the banded. I've completely lost the name. I saw it. Literally yesterday. The slender mongoose. There we go. Bit of a mental blank there. Liam, how many different types of mongoose are there? Well, let's have a think here. So, the ones that I know of are the dwarf mongoose, the slender mongoose, the white-tailed mongoose, which is very rare to see here. I did see one up in the Mara, though. The banded mongoose, and Yeah, yellow-tailed mongoose. Thanks, Sebo. But they are quite variable in size for their family. These ones are definitely the smallest though, the dwarf mongoose. Well, I mean, all you need to do is really hear the name to guess that. But they're very cute. And I believe also very intelligent as well. CNAC, most definitely these guys are vulnerable to lions, probably more so smaller lions than larger lions, but they will definitely still be alarmed in the presence of lions, and yes, birds of prey as well. So they are very aware though, they are very aware. As I was saying, the ones around camp, they will alarm at any sign of danger, and they do quickly respond to these alarm calls as well. So they do have quite good predator avoidance. And I was just saying that they are quite clever, but you know, everything is at risk out here, and yes, they can definitely be prey to another animal. Alright, well, I think that was a nice little sighting to have there with a still mongoose. It's not something we often see. McRambo, do they stand up like meerkats? They do, not as much as meerkats, but I have definitely seen them doing it. The banded mongoose do it more so, up in the Mara, standing up on their hind legs quite a bit. It's very cute to watch actually, and it does look very similar to a meerkat. Okay, so looks like we are losing signal, so I'll just have to go stationary right now. I have moved off those mongoose. Can you hear that? Hang on. I'm just going to stay quiet. There's some heavy impala rutting. Of course they stop as soon as I listen. Let's send you.
And there's so many different things that you can find around a waterhole, but at this time of evening, it's a really nice idea to come and visit one of the ones that still has a little bit of water remaining, because all sorts of creatures, like these gorgeous kudu, start making their way towards the water's edge. And it's around about this time. Most people think it's at the hottest time of the day. Yes, for elephants, but less so for things like antelope. And they, of course, are obviously deeply aware of the fact that something is watching them. And we walked openly across the dam wall, so they have well and truly seen us, and they're actually alternating. They've split their attention between Rexon and us. For those of you who don't know. Oh, there's a black-coloured barbet, Darby. How do you feel about the black-coloured barbet? Can you see him? He's on the edge of that dead stick sticking out to the right of the dam. He's right on the edge. We just don't often see black-collared barbets, so I got quite excited. You got him. Oh, brilliant. Well done. Well played, sir. See? Lots of reasons to come to the water's edge. Oh, it's such a beautiful evening. I've forgotten what I was going to talk about. I got distracted by the barbet. Ian wants to know if a ranger is always needed on a bushwalk. It depends upon the bushwalk that you're doing. You know what? If I want to go for a walk on my own in the bush, I wouldn't take a ranger. I am one. So I suppose in that way I am always needed if I want to take myself on a bushwalk, if that makes any sense. But no, not really. But if we're presenting, which is what we're doing at the moment, then yes, absolutely. The cameraman's got a big backpack on his back with an antenna sticking up. There you go. And obviously isn't as limber as they might otherwise be. And you do run the risk of bumping into dangerous animals. We just whimsically, for a reason I cannot discuss, have been stuck on a termite mound for the last 15 minutes. So, yes, a ranger is always needed. My sense of hearing is compromised by the fact that I'm chattering away to you. and my awareness of my surroundings is not what it should be. So we absolutely do. Fortunately, we're very lucky that Herbie and Rexon do agree to come on these walks with us. They are both qualified as any of the guides who work for Safari Live. So, you know, they take guests, and this is something that they do for us as well. It's very kind of them. And we feel remarkably safe in their hands. If you wanted to go for a bushwalk as a tourist, yes, you would need a guide in a Big Five area. You do occasionally get places that are happy to do bushwalks without a rifle. That's, of course, the choice of the place concerned. Obviously, legally, things start to get a bit more complicated. There's something walking back, Darby, towards the water's edge. The kudu's watching. I wonder if perhaps I would suggest rather than putting the camera that way, don't, because I'm not sure it's not our our friend from earlier. I think we'll stick with the kudu for now. He would be a bit of a surprise. I mean, never mind. All right, we're going to move on. The sun is starting to set. We're going to have to begin our loop home. While we do, let's head across to Rusty, who is fortunate enough not to need to rush anywhere.
It is that gorgeous time of the day, and sadly the sun is going down way quicker than I like, but is setting this golden glow around us. And with the grass changing colour and the leaves going to that orangey yellow colour, it is setting the mood quite beautifully. But I still can't find out where these elephants have gone. But I'm going to go look down at the pan again just behind camp. They must be going there. You could see how fast they are walking just by where their feet were. I don't know if that was just a moment to cross the road. And they seem to be heading in a particular direction towards camp. So I'm just doing another loop around, just on the road, to hopefully see if we can find any of the tracks crossing. And every now and again we do stop to listen to see if we can hear broken branches or at least them feeding. But so far we've got nothing. It's very quiet. There's been quite a lot of bird movement around here with the hornbills. I think there must be a caterpillar influx somewhere, or some insect something's happening, because these hornbills just further back before we turned off onto this road, there just seem to be a lot of hornbills around that particular spot. So I wonder what caused that. I think it was just an afternoon meet and greet. But I do hope that those elephants, those two bulls, might be heading towards where Jamie is walking, since I think she is actually at one of the watering holes that is close to camp, and I think those two bulls are heading there. So I'm fingers crossed they get to see them on bushwalk. If not, we'll get to see them, see if they come out. It just seems to be the only fresh tracks of elephants I've seen in the last few days coming through here. But I was in the tent the other day, and it has been I wasn't out yesterday, so anything could have happened, anything could have moved through. Roslyn, how could you identify animal tracks? Well, one of the easiest ways of doing it is if you know what animals are in that area that you're in, and then you go out and find some common animal tracks, animal paths, and see the animal moving through there and go up and study where it's walked. So once you already know the animal, then you look down at the tracks, you start relating one to the other. And then over time, it does take time. It doesn't happen overnight. Some people take years to become good trackers. It just experience and eye over time that show you some tracks on the road here that allow you to become very good at picking up individual track marks that are left behind. I am nowhere near even coming close to being professional. I really enjoy tracking. I think it's an art, and it just fascinates me because sometimes you never see animals, but you know they're here, you know what they're around, especially around cities. on the outskirts of cities. You'll find leopard tracks on Table Mountain right outside the back door of a lot of people's houses. But you never see the leopards except on camera traps. But they are there. The tracks and sign are there. So it just goes to show, it just shows you what's around without you actually seeing the animal. So it's just a very nice thing to have or know about, is knowing the tracks, what are around. Now, I'm just wondering if Jamie's going to have any luck in finding Tingana and his kill. I'm heading in that general direction. I just don't want to bump into them. Because I really want to get to this other watering hole where we think those two bulls are heading. Because they haven't come this side yet. They must be still there. Oh, crested Franklins. They must be still coming through. It's the only water source in that direction, in that general direction they're heading. The dry soils. The dry ground. There's a big difference between arriving here almost 3 months ago and having it so green and so lush and pans and watering holes full of water to this. It is quite a difference. I'm used to it. I've seen it many times. Have I just skipped the road that I wanted to go on? I think I did. So, apologies. I'm just going to reverse and do a U-turn. I don't think they've crossed this main entry road. So, if they did come down, the road I saw the tracks on were further ahead here, about, 2 kilometers, and they'll come in this direction. They definitely haven't come this side. Daniel, what is the easiest tracks to identify? Well, I'll just go for the for the elephant. It's large, round to oval-shaped prints in the road. And Jerry, because how big they are, they show up quite clearly in a lot of areas. When the ground's a lot harder and more the grass or the bush is quite thicker, then it's very difficult to pick up the tracks of elephants. But those will be the easiest ones to identify straight off. The number of times anyone I've asked, any of the clients in the past, I've asked straight off, what is that track? They'll say, elephant. So it's only... What's that? Oh, look. We're talking about elephants. Thank you, Craig. He just said there's an elephant in the bush. Oh, there is. So my tracking skills are superb. Or at least the direction of where the elephant is going. So there we go, boy. I'm sorry. I do apologize about the telephone pole or the electric pole behind. There we go. And this is not far from the pan. That's a very unusual tusk. Hello, boy. Not everyone. It's okay. It's a full-grown male elephant. Now, I'm going to guess him to be at about 25, 30 years of age. So, we are going to stay with him. Now, I did see 2 sets of tracks. So that's one. I'm just wondering where the other one... So, let's see. We're going to follow him for a little bit. It's quite difficult. I'm just wondering where the next closest road will be. But we're going to try stay with him as long as possible. But if he walks off, he walks off. We can't ask him to hang around. But I'm just hoping he's going to bring his mate or his friend is going to follow him. Okay, let me just start up. Where are you heading, boy? So while we follow up on him, let's go back to Patrick and see how his afternoon is getting along.
Well, most certainly not as exciting as your afternoon, Rusty, but well done. Well done. I'm very, very happy that there is an elephant on the property, even if it is just one. I've heard things have been pretty bleak on the elephant front lately, so to have one is awesome. That is definitely one thing that I loved about being up in the Mara, is that pretty much wherever you were, you could find yourself an elephant within within minutes of driving into the park, there was generally elephants and a lot of baby elephants too, which is always just an absolute treat. I remember seeing baby elephants here in Juma when I did my first ever stint here, and being over the moon. And then it was such a common sight in the Mara that I almost started taking it for granted. But now being back here in Juma and not being around a lot of little baby elephants, well, if one does come through, I will be very, very, very excited. Is the good thing about not having so much of something is you really do appreciate it when it does come along. So just making my way up the western boundary, so the eastern. I'm so bad with my east and my west. I don't know why. It's like I have some form of extremely, extremely mild dyslexia that only translates to east and west. But yeah, I'm coming up the eastern side at the moment and just keeping an eye out. Not really near any water at the moment. It's starting to cool off a little bit. Conditions are getting a lot more mild. A little bit of cloud cover, but all in all, it's quite a nice afternoon, a pleasant afternoon weather-wise, and hopefully that brings some of the animals out and about as well. It's about pretty much almost the fluctuations in temperature we were having in the Mara at the moment. Here in Juma, it's kind of about that 30-31 degrees in the day, and then down to some kind of chillier mid-teens, mid to low teens at night time, sometimes even a little bit colder. Oh, and all the plants look sad along here. All just kind of drooped over a little bit. But seeing the masses of them, look, that's just looking at the individual. Seeing the masses of them, it's very pretty. Pretty is the word for it. Sorry, I just yeah, very, very nice. Very not fresh. It's kind of the ending. This. So the kind of end of the cycle, when everything starts getting green and growing, that's when things start feeling fresh. But this is kind of the end. And you know, you have to accept the end of the beginning of the cycle. Everything moves in cycles. Everything is just a cycle feeding into another cycle, feeding and into another cycle. Kind of pretty deep when you think about it. And yes, we are at the end of a lot of the cycles for these deciduous trees around the area. Okay, well, I'm going to continue on seeing what I can see, and then while I do that, let's go see what Jamie is seeing.
I am seeing a setting sun, a Rexon who's determined to get to Gari Main before the end of the sunset safari. So we're going to continue walking, because if we don't, we're going to be walking home in the dark. Today is a bird day. And what I mean by that is Franklins they've got it in for us. Franklins and spurfowl. They've got it in for us, and what they're doing is they are lying in wait, and they're just going completely dead silent and sitting and waiting and laughing at us. And we get closer and closer and closer to the bush that they're in, and then right as we're on top of it, they burst out like, and heart slowly calms down again to a mild panic. That's happened to us how many times, Dav?
At least 3.
No, more than 3, 5. There was one here, 2 here, because the one, that one while we were live counts as well, plus the one on Treehouse Road, plus the one on Quarantine, plus the one on Rebecca's Road. That's 5. 5 times that has happened to us. I was telling Darby earlier, the only times that I've ever loaded, because when you walk with your rounds in and the bolt over the top of them. So there's no round in the chamber. Only time I've ever chambered around was once at a red-crested korhaan to my excruciating embarrassment, same thing. Looking for lions, walking very slowly, knowing that they were somewhere close, and all of a sudden the bush goes flap, 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 flap at your feet, and you just do it because, you're trained to. The other was warthogs. Also, again, tracking lions. Creeping. And the more you're searching for something in very thick bush, the more your heart rate starts to beat a little faster, a little faster, a little faster. Warthog, same thing. Straight out of a burrow. It's terrifying. It's not actually terrifying. You get over it really quickly. And me, it's always been with guests, and it's just a purely instinctive muscle response. What else have I got to tell you? Apparently the questions are very slow this afternoon for our sunset safari, which is an indication that we're not doing our job correctly. It is our job to inspire conversation in amongst the various people watching. So remember, you can send through your questions on #SafariLive on Twitter or in the comments section of YouTube. You know what happens if you don't send through questions? Then we have a scale. So if we manage to get 100 questions, then we're allowed to eat dinner. And if we don't, then if we get sort of 50, then we're not allowed to eat dinner. And if we get under 50, then we are made to... I can't think quickly enough on my feet. We are... What do they make us do, Dov? They make us 100 push-ups, which, as you can imagine, when you have arms like these monsters, is nothing. Nina says, no dinner for me tonight. It's deeply depressing. I might even be on the 100 push-ups. I'll start now, shall I? While I do that, you can go across to Rusty, whose arms are puny in comparison to mine.
My elephant is moving. It doesn't seem very fast when you look at him moving, but when he does, he just seems to cover a lot of ground. So we're trying to do a road around to the other side of this clearing here and see if he comes out onto the road. I think he is heading further into the bushes. I think we have lost him. Okay, there's a female kudu he walked past. Where is he? I think he might be on a mission to find females. I still don't know where his friend is. I don't know if he's already gone ahead or still coming from behind him. Where is he gone? Oh, come on, boy. You gave us such a brief moment, a brief glimpse of your glory, and you've gone. Where is he gone? They seem... I think this bull must be in search of females because he's not in must, but I think he might be following up on a herd. I didn't see any tracks coming through of the herd, but it doesn't mean they're not around. They have got incredible senses and they can hear and pick up smells from kilometers away, miles away from other herds. Nope, I think we've lost him, Craig. I think he has disappeared, crossed over. Nope. Well, it was a brief moment, and I was very happy I found him. Thanks to Craig. I was losing a bit of hope there. I don't know if I think we're going to see him. I just was hoping that we're going to. But he has moved on to not greener pastures. He's just gone in search of something more interesting. But I will find another one shortly, I hope. Well, while we're on the road again, back looking for tracks, I'm going to find out more what's happening with Tingana. Let's go over to Pat and see how his afternoon is getting along.
My afternoon is going great now. Look what we have. Yeah, honey badger don't care. So we've just come along to Buffelshoek Dam, where I believe, I'm not sure whether it's this same one, but we have had this happen twice now, I believe, in the past, that a honey badger has come down to scratch around I'm sure there's plenty of invertebrates and insects in here for the honey badger to actually collect and forage and eat and hunt. And so let's watch as it does that. I wonder if it's going to... So this is awesome because this would be probably the probably about the fourth time I've seen a honey badger out here. One time I was with Seb and we saw 3 honey badgers in about, that was about 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah, that was good, eh, Seb? Yeah.
Oh, a TV show, no?
Yeah, just before, we were right before a TV show. That's right, but we couldn't get to them in time. See, they definitely sniffing about, this one is. And just like a skunk, these guys have a kind of a warning coloration in that black and white. Lorna, this honey badger, I would say, is probably about, what could I compare it to? Perhaps the size of a household cat, except a bit more laterally compressed, but generally probably about a full-grown house cat. Obviously a very different shape, but in terms of size, that is probably about what you're looking at here. Looks like it's taking a drink here. Awesome. This is great. I've never actually got to spend time with a stationary honey badger. Yeah, sure. Let's get more people involved with this. Let's do a little bit of an unscheduled broadcast, open this up to the general public. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Juma Game Reserve here on the very western outskirts of the greater Kruger National Park. My name is Patrick. Joining me behind the camera is Sebastian. And if you have any questions or comments throughout this broadcast, you can interact with us as we are 100% live. So what we have unfolding in front of us is a situation I am very excited about. We have a honey badger. So we have come down to check out this dam, and as we can see, it started to dry up quite a bit over the last couple of months. And so this honey badger, I'm not sure if it is this same honey badger, but on a couple of different occasions, a honey badger has been down here. So they are very rare to see here, so to see one in the same spot, coming to the same spot, is actually quite exciting. And to have so many sightings in such a small amount of time is also quite exciting. Now, what it has come down to do is have a bit of a scratch around, I believe, for invertebrates. But for now, it's actually just drinking. It's been drinking pretty much since we got here. It just went to the water's edge, and that's all it has been doing thus far. Unless, of course, there are some sort of insect in the water that we can't see. Daniel, they feed on a whole variety of organisms. So they are a mammal, a carnivorous mammal, meaning that they do eat meat. And what they will generally prey on is kind of invertebrates, but also small reptiles like snakes. Well, not even sometimes small reptiles, even sometimes full-grown reptiles like lizards and snakes. And, well, even eggs of some animals, and whatever they can get their little paws on. We'll see them scratching around quite a bit for scorpions as well. They will eat scorpions and a whole array of other invertebrates. So we do quite often see large pits that have been dug, especially if there is a scorpion burrow. The honey badger will scratch it up. It looks like this one didn't come down to find food this time. It looks like it just came down for a drink. You see that head though, always moving. Honey badgers generally actually are also always moving. Mario, they aren't completely immune to venom, but venom doesn't seem to have as much as an effect on them as other animals. I'm sure some people have seen that YouTube video where one gets bitten by a snake and then looks as if it almost has died, and then out of nowhere it just comes back. So they are very resistant. They're quite tough as well. Their skin is kind of very hard to grip and claw. And yeah, so they're quite a tough little animal for the size that they are. And they're quite adept at hunting as well as also defending themselves. But it looks like we have lost this one behind the bushes, but what a very, very lovely thing to see it this afternoon. Thank you all very much for joining. If you do want to see more, you can go onto YouTube, type in Safari Live, and we will see you there right after this. If not, enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Well, wasn't that something very cool? That was great to spend a bit of time with a honey badger. And I also, earlier on, as we saw, I got to spend a bit of time with a stationary dwarf mongoose. So two animals that we don't often get to have long sightings with that we got. Actually, speaking of dwarf mongoose, there's a whole heap just over here. We might be able to see just behind us, just on the slope under this bush, there's about 4 of them. All over the place today. Again, chilling out. Very cool. Okay, well, we've only got this one hippo at the dam, so I think I'm going to keep moving on now after that exciting little sighting. I'm just going to have a little bit of a look on this different angle, see if that honey badger is still about, but in the nature of honey badger, I would say that it is probably left by now and is somewhere else. Yeah, no. Looks to be long gone, but so happy. So happy. Well, I'm going to enjoy my little moment of happiness and send you back over to Rusty to see how he's going with his ellies.
Isn't that absolutely incredible? I am so happy for Pat to find that honey badger. It is such... So I was just listening to the radio there if there's any update on Tingana. But isn't he lucky? Those honey badgers are so incredible to see and sometimes so hard to find. It's just sometimes luck, sheer luck in finding them. And they have quite a reputation out here in the South African bush belt. You know, they sometimes do break into kitchens and dustbin areas in a lot of camps, and you just have to let them do what they have to do and move out on their own. There's a few times where you tried, well, I've not accidentally, but like gone in at the same time. One's been foraging around in the kitchen because the door's been left open, and they get a bit aggressive, and they do excrete this horrendous smell, which is hard to get out of your everything, actually. So yeah, these honey badgers are, I love them. I love seeing them, and when you see a family of them, and the youngsters are just as much, they've got such a, that also got just as much spunk, if you want to call it that. Eagle Swift, sorry, I didn't quite capture your name there. I apologize. You're asking the question, do honey badgers as well as skunks stink? Which one stinks? They both do. The honey badgers can release an awful urine smell that it's actually worse than urine. It's almost like a gland that you get in skunks, but they seem to also release it sometimes. It's the same with the civet, that they also release this horrible smell when they, it's a form of protection, and they sometimes do that as well. Oh. It's a false alarm, Mrs. Tahita. I thought it was impala that is having a alarm call, but I thought it was alarm calling, but it just turns out it's just, it's still the coming to the end of that rutting season. So I should be used to the sound by now, but right now I'm looking for any other cats. So any alarm call, such as from impala, is hopefully a giveaway of a cat's position. But that was just a lot of just the impala rutting still. Now I still need to find out more about Tingana. I don't know where he had this kill, or if he's still on it, or if he's moved away. Any station still unlocked with Tingana coming for Rusty? Just nobody seems to want to talk to me today. It sounds like he's left the... Well, it seems that Tingana has crossed over to Little Gowrie past our boundary, so we cannot follow him. I thought he might still be on the kill. But anyway, let's keep looking. We do have other cats around. Let's go over to Jamie and see how her bushwalk is going on.
"97, 98, 99, 100. Oh, okay, what's next? I'm ready to go. Oh, that has absolutely nothing to do with the questions. That was my penance. I'm sorry you missed the rest of the 100, but we thought we'd get bored. Obviously, I wasn't really putting it, the full effort in right up to the end there. Once you get to about 90, one starts to lose a bit of steam. But, yeah. So I wasn't doing that because of questions. I was doing that as a penance. You know how I told you how the birds have been jumping out of the bushes right next to us? They've been waiting, and they went, bah, as soon as we walked past the bush. That just happened again, only it wasn't the birds. It was Tingana on the fire break, about from me to Darby away, give or take. Mate, that's a slight exaggeration. From where you are now, where I... Yeah, it was about there. It was very dramatic. I take back everything I've said about Tingana looking small. He really doesn't look small when you're standing that close to him on foot. But we scared him, and I'm really sorry. We didn't mean to. We thought his tracks crossed over Gowrie Main. They did. He must have come back onto the fire break. And that's why we didn't even bother trying to ask for a link, because we had to move to get out of there as quickly as possible. But he crossed onto Little Gowrie. I'm sorry. We didn't mean to. It was an accident. And Rexon had just seen fresh leopard tracks, and he just went poof, out of the bushes at our feet. That split second, Rex is so chilled. Just... every day in the life of Rexon. You know that feeling when you think something's fine and you think it's the birds again, but it's not, and it's something much bigger? Oh, I forgot about it. Paula wants to know what I'm going to do with the quill in my hair. I'm going to become a secret porcupine assassin girl. Keep it in my hair right up until the last moment. And be porcupine girl. That doesn't sound very cool, does it? Eastervark Macy. Eastervark Macy. That's Afrikaans for porcupine, for those of you that don't know. And be like Arya Stark's African brethren. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. To be honest, I forgot it was there. But it feels like it's got to stay there now. I'll give it to someone. Probably. I don't know who. My mommy, maybe. Yeah, I think I'll give it to my mommy. I don't know what she'd do with it either. It doesn't really go with the decor of her house, but I don't know. Really genuinely forgot I had it. Darby got one, actually. Darby got one that I've never seen before. It's white. Wisconsin wants to know if we get many ticks on us while we're walking. In summer, hobos. In other words, lots. Lots and lots and lots. Typically, what I find more irritating than the ticks is the grass seeds, but I've lost my gaiters. So there's nothing I can do about that. Gaiters stop that from happening. Pepper ticks are the worst. There, those are gators. Thank you, Dov. I've lost mine. Pepper ticks are the worst. I'm walking, by the way, because it's getting dark. And we're hustling. We're about to hustle through a no-signal area, though. Pepper ticks are very tiny. They are freckle-sized, very difficult to see. And if you react badly, very, very itchy. All right? Rusty, I beg your forgiveness. I apologize. I throw myself upon your mercy. I'm so sorry I chased your leopard away.
Oh, Jamie. Did I hear that right? Is she doing push-ups for every question that comes in? I can't believe if that's right. I did a workout this morning, so if that is a challenge, I think Craig will accept it. He loves push-ups. For every question I get in, Craig must do 10 push-ups. The camera can hold its own. It's got a beautiful stand there, and he can go out in the middle of the road and do push-ups. Oh, 50 questions or under when we do 100 push-ups. 100 is still pushing it. I'm actually, my arms are almost like still shaking from the workout this afternoon. So, yes, fine. Challenge accepted. I think, yeah, we'll spread that 100 out between everybody and see how far we get. But we are coming down. I do apologize if I broken up now. I'm just trying to look in the same area where Tundi was a day or so ago. We know she was here. I was doing a bushwalk when we found her tracks. So I'm just hoping she might still be around this area. Now, for those who do not know, Tundi is one of the older females we have in the area, female leopards. And she has got one of her daughters that is also around the area, Kalamba, which I'm hoping to find as well. But like I said, all we got is going to find tracks or at least a body of a leopard moving through this beautiful area. That is our goal right now. But well, all we can do is just concentrate and see if we can find tracks. It's getting, that light is fading quite quickly, so it's quite difficult now. Oh, and I stole the engine. It's quite difficult to pick up leopards now without that golden light on them. The sun is disappearing too quickly. The days are just too short in winter. I shouldn't actually complain. Our South African winters are amazing. Come on. Now this is actually almost exactly where we found her mark lying down yesterday, or day before yesterday, next to this tree here, right on the road. Now she heard us coming, got up and ran off from the tracks that we saw. So she doesn't really like us too much on foot. It is quite a special gift to be able to walk up to leopards without them being too aware of us or being too nervous of us. So she must be around here. She must be here. But yeah, we just keep looking. That's what we do. We follow tracks, we find signs, and that is how it goes. And then if we are rewarded by a leopard, absolutely amazing. If we don't, well, there's many other animals out here that we can look for. But in the meantime, let's go over to Pat and see how he's doing.
There are many other animals we can find. Honey badgers being one of them. So it was looking like it was going to be a nice sunset tonight, but the clouds have just covered the sun in a way that is obscuring any nice light. I mean, it is still okay. It's not bad. It's about a 4 out of 10 in terms of sunsets, if I had to give it a rating. So I'm just coming kind of, I suppose I've almost done not a whole loop, a half loop of the property now. So I started when I was heading kind of down south. Now then I headed east, came up the eastern boundary, then crossed Buffelshoek, and now I'm going across the northern boundary. And so I guess now it would only make sense to come back down the eastern boundary and then back in from there, make it almost an entire loop. But in terms of tracks, alarm calls, everything like that, there hasn't been much that I have seen. I'm trying to take it a little bit slower, just to increase my chances of it picking up on something. But for now, it is pretty quiet. Now, Laura wants to know where do honey badgers make their home. Well, they are digging animals, so they can burrow and use also other structures as their home, any structure with a hole in it, as other burrowers will also do as well. Now, I'd really, I don't know why, I've just got a feeling that I'm going to see lions soon. I don't know why. I'm not sure whether it's going to be tonight, but over the next, I don't know. I've just got a gut feeling that there's going to be lions coming into Djuma soon. I don't have anything to back that with, but I don't know. It just kind of feels that way. And I wouldn't be mad if that was to happen. As I said, there's only been those 2 evokers. I've seen it so far since being back. I guess that is the difference between the Mara and, well, one of the many differences between the Mara and Djuma is that in Djuma, inside lions' territories, whereas in Mara, the lions' territories are inside the kind of area. So it's kind of like a bit of a reverse. So it's almost as if a choice for a lion to come through Djuma, whereas in the Mara, that is their kind of area. So they're already there. Alright, so I'm going to keep moving on and see what I can pick up on and send you back to Rusty, who is looking for Queen Tundi.
We're still in this drainage line here looking for any of the tracks belonging to any one of our leopards, and we're not having any luck, so I'm going to try get out of here. There is a route here, but it takes quite a bit of my concentration away, so I'm going to do a 3-point turn. I'm not really good at doing this in the city, but in the bush it seems to be quite easy, and especially with these awesome little cars where there's little Land Rovers, there's short wheelbases. They definitely can get to places where your average car cannot. So we're just going to move out of here. It might even help with signal. There we go. We're out. I'm just wanting to go investigate other parts we haven't been to in a few days. just can't believe how quickly this bush has changed. It's like the grass is disappearing before our eyes. But yeah, we were talking about that honey badger earlier, and Pat's honey badger is going to be called now. Pat's honey badger that he had on his drive early on. They are, like I said, they are the most fascinating creatures out there when it comes to the size of them. I want to say, okay, that's something that's blank now. What is a baby honey badger called? Is it a cub? Is it a pup? Now part of the Viveridae family, so what's a baby mongoose called? I don't know. Now that's just a very good question. If any of you know that answer to that question, what is a baby honey badger called? Is a honey badger pup, honey badger cub? Oh, I do apologize. We seem to have a signal breakup. We lost all signal for all our feeds. It just happens with all the technology we have. As in, we do try our best, but it just doesn't work. So I did have a question. So here's a question for all of you. What is a baby honey badger called? Try not to use too much into Google, because Google comes up with varied amounts of answers. If you can have a wild guess, what would you call a baby honey badger? You can even put in your own words. We do not mind. But you know how? If you don't know how to do this, go to the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or on the YouTube chat stream. Just send in those answers and we'll put a Twitter quiz out for you, or I can't actually remember what it's called now. But I would like to know, what is a baby honey badger called? There might be a legit answer to that. Well, we do have an hour left of the show, so send them in. Send in those questions. So, like I said, if you do send in more than 50... Paula, you saying honey badger pup. Wow. Elizabeth, you saying pup. Pup, and we got pup and cub. Well, it does vary. I think we're going to tally it up at the end. In the next half an hour, 45 minutes, we'll tally it all up and see who has got the highest percentage. Rosalind, you're saying kit. Is that correct? Kit? It could be. I really don't know. I could easily look it up, but I am not going to, because this is actually quite interesting for everyone to join in. They are, I think, I was going back to how these tiny little kids, cubs, pups, they will take on, I've stopped at the vehicle and I've had one it was attacking the side wheel, the driver's wheel. And it was the sound coming out of this tiny little thing. Its hair was standing on edge. It looked twice the size. And just about 2 seconds before, they were saying, "Oh, look how cute it is." The mother had run across the road, and there's this cub, a baby, honey badger stopped, looked at us, and just came towards us, with tail up. And it was only about that size. It was ridiculous. It's almost like the Jack Russells of the bushveld. You know how Jack Russells seem to think they're bigger than they actually are. And I think honey badgers do that quite well, but they do have a reputation out here. So, Google apparently says a honey badger is called a kit. Is that correct? FC, Nina, I didn't. It just breaks up at the last moment when they say, "Oh, what is this? Do I have a drag mark?" I do have a drag mark here, but I think that's what's the kill that Tingana might have had. I do have hyena tracks and a drag mark, but it's heading towards the den site. So I think the hyenas might have stolen this kill that was possibly Tingana's earlier. I'm in roughly the same area, so I'm sure it's that. I can't see any leopard tracks. I can just find hyena tracks. So, that's very interesting. I wonder if Jamie saw this on Bushwalk, or was it seen early on during the day? Whatever it is, it's pretty big. I'm just going to get out and just look a bit closely at it. So I'm going to try use my handheld to see if any of these other answers come back. So Google says that honey badgers are called kit. Is that correct? No. I've always loved seeing. Okay, apparently Jamie did see this earlier. So I will leave the bushwalk. Yes, there's a footprint right in the middle of that, human track. So yeah, that answers my question. So that has been seen. So it looks like the hyenas did finish it, or at least has dragged it. It's heading off into where the hyena den is. So they are incredible creatures, honey badgers. And also we're talking about the scent glands they have on them. They use it as a marking their territories. They are very territorial. But they also, like I said, they also excrete it when they're under stress. If something captures them, or is, like I said, when our dogs or something chases them, they release this smell, that this anal gland just opens up. And I've never been sprayed by a skunk. I know you need a lot of tomatoes to get that smell off you. So I'm guessing it is the same principle when it comes to honey badgers. We've got this dishwasher liquid that we use for, and also Tresemme.
WLB.
WLB, you're asking if that female honey badger is smaller than the male. Well, I want to say yes, but now I'm second guessing myself. It's one of those questions where it's like, okay, males are bigger than females, but then when you ask it directly, it's like, it could be one of these catch questions where it's like, actually not. So, we're on our honey badger buzz at the moment. So, we know, okay, see what the honey badger baby is called. Is the male bigger than the female? I think the male is bigger than the females. I've seen females with the babies. It's very hard to see male and female, see if there's actually any physical differences. But when you have them side by side, I think you might be able to see a difference between if one is a male, one is a female. You can't exactly see genitalia when they are through the bush, quite low to the ground. So that is actually a very interesting point. I do need to go look more up on honey badgers. Well, but they are just, you've seen them, I think they cover most of this area, the honey badgers. Laura, you're asking how long the gestation period is. Is that correct? The gestation period of a honey badger, I believe, 65 days? If I'm not wrong, 60 days? 60 to 65 days. They are quite... Oh, I keep seeing things now. It's like this time in the evening you just start seeing spots. When you want to see spots, you see them everywhere. But until it actually moves, then you can confirm if it's a leopard or not. But now I also want to see a honey badger. It's also the funny thing with honey badgers and with porcupines. Although they do share they don't share the same holes, but they do take over one of each other's holes. When the honey badgers utilize warthog holes, so do porcupines. But also the porcupine and badger tracks look very similar. But the thing about the badger tracks and the porcupine tracks, the badger tracks, they've got these very long claws that you can see sticking out in front of the track. And then the porcupine has got very similar padding at the back. It's just one or two pads that are missing compared to the honey badger. But you can see the quill marks dragging behind the tracks of the porcupine. So sometimes you can mix them up if it's in very light soil, very soft soil. Okay, well, we are still heading about to see what is moving around as the sun has set and see what nocturnal creatures are starting to move around. But in the meantime, let's go over to Jamie and see how she's ending her bushwalk.
I am not a nocturnal creature. If I make it past 8:15 at night, that's really impressive. When I'm up past 9:30, that's a party. I've never make it past 10, so that just doesn't happen. Tree! Darby doing a marvellous job of walking backwards into a tree. Sorry, I just thought I'd shout and give you a little bit of warning. Yeah, about that drag mark. I haven't done well this afternoon. Well, actually, I've had a lovely afternoon, but I haven't done very well. The reason that we thought Tingana had left was because we found that we followed that drag mark back from the hyena den all the way across Treehouse, all the way to almost where Tingana was. And we made the assumption, because it was hyena tracks in the drag mark, that they had taken from him. It's always possible that they didn't, that they hunted and dragged a carcass with them, but it's unlikely in this situation with Tingana's tracks walking along exactly where they went, disappearing off where the drag mark comes from. He probably killed something and he probably lost it. So that's actually why we worked on the assumption that he was gone, because we thought he'd lost a kill and decided to go elsewhere. My quill's coming loose. There we go. I'm a little bit concerned that if I poke into anything, it's going to stab me in the back of the neck, which would be highly unpleasant. What's falling on my own sword? Something like that. We're still walking. Nina asked if we were walking back from Mozambique. We're not. We were just quite far away. We're still trekking along. I haven't stopped for anything, I'm afraid. Just because we're still cover the ground. Right. Across to Patrick to find out what he's been doing while you were away.
Wow. There's my update. So I think I'm going to go down to the hyena den now. It's about that time of evening where it is appropriate to go check them out. I did go, was it yesterday? Perhaps the day before yesterday? Sometime over the last couple of days I went down there and only the cubs were there and we didn't want to stay around, so we did leave. Hopefully there is a parent this time and we can stay with them because, well, this will be the third time I've been there now and I would like to spend some proper time with the hyenas, get to know them again because it's been so long. Nirvana, we don't want to be around the hyena den when Mum isn't around because we don't want them to get too used to the vehicles. They do get very curious and will start to feel out the vehicle a little bit. And it's fine that they're fine with our presence. That's great that they're fine with our presence. But we don't want them to be comfortable enough with our presence to think that we are there to protect them and that they can just come out of the den if we are around. We want to make sure that they know that Mum is Mum, pretty much. That they are able to, you know, not associate with our car with being able to be safe and out and about, because if there's a predator around and they did get the cubs, well, that would kind of be on us, and so we don't want that to happen, and so that's why. But that's why I was saying I hope the parents are out and about tonight. So yeah, I just mean even IDing them and knowing who is who, I definitely think I could still recognise Corky, because I did spend a lot of time with Corky. And as for the rest, it's going to be a bit of a mystery, but one I'm very, very willing and ready to start putting back together. Last time I was here, Plonk, I don't think, or maybe Plonk was just starting to get his spots. Sarah, is it true that hyenas are predators and lions are scavengers? No, both are predators and both can scavenge as well. So hyenas, I believe, will tend to scavenge more here, but up in the Mara they hunt quite a bit. And lions, whilst they are predominantly hunters, will also be scavengers from time to time as well. So both of them can switch between the other, and it does vary from region to region as well. In some areas, lions may scavenge a little bit more than they hunt, and hyenas may hunt a little bit more than they scavenge. But in general, lions do tend to hunt more, and hyenas will tend to a more scavenging diet. But that's not to say either of them won't go either way. These are just very, very much generalities. But there is fierce competition that I have observed between lions and hyenas. They are definitely not friends with one another, I can tell you that much, especially when it comes to meat and a dead carcass. I've seen quite a few now disputes between lions and hyenas, and I'll have to say, I think every time lions have had the upper hand. Hyenas, it tends to be the win when they have the numbers behind them when it comes to lions, when they mob charge them. So I'm not far from the hyena den now. Tammy, well, once they are out of the den, I think it's okay to be alone with them. So once they actually start leaving the den and going out and into the wild a bit more, that's when it will be okay. So if I had to put a specific age on it, maybe between about 8 to 12 months or so. But while they are, you know, consistently at the den, well then that is when we'd want to try and stay away if the parents aren't around. In the north, the North Clan in the Mara, they always had parents around, which was really good. Anyway, well, I zone in on the hyena den. It's not far away. I'm going to send you to Rusty, who is still on the lookout for Tundi.
Still on the lookout for Tundi or any of the other spotted cats around here. But talking about cats, I need to make another apology. That's 65 days, which I thought was honey badger because it popped into my mind, and I've got so many gestation periods of most of the animals out here. 65 days was not for the honey badger. That is for the African wildcat. I don't know why I just came out with that so quickly. I think we were talking about wildcats earlier on with Jamie at the lunch table. So I think I just had so many things going on. It's like, because I haven't seen a wildcat out here yet. And that was a name that just came out. It is 6 months gestation period for the honey badger. So I do apologize for that question that came through. That lady, I believe, who asked that question. I apologize about the misinformation. It seems to be coming out of me quite a bit nowadays. I think it's either not enough coffee or too much coffee, or just so much happening at the moment. So, Isabel, you're asking what predators can kill honey badgers? Well, lions can kill honey badgers, leopards can, hyenas can, jackals can kill young ones. It's just honey badgers just have a reputation of standing their ground on their own against more than one lion. It's very impressive. There's a lot of video clips on YouTube you can watch where these lions will circle a honey badger that is really not in a good mood, and they will leave the honey badger alone. But in some cases, yes, leopards can kill them if you find one that's back down. Because as soon as these honey badgers stop and turn and run, they're not as fast as a lot of the predators are. So their whole defense is that smell, that horrible smell that I was telling you about, and their aggression, their sheer aggression. They think they're bigger than they actually are, and they make themselves big, and the sounds that come out of them is very incredible. You have to, if you can, I'm not sure if anyone here at Wild Earth Safari Live has got audio footage of a honey badger in a bad mood, because they make this, I can't even make the sound, but they do this, they almost like roll the tongue at you like a hiss, and it's quite impressive. I've just seen it one too many times, and I just know to back away and let the honey badger be. If it wants to finish off what's in your kitchen, let it. There's no need to ask it out. It doesn't really go politely. So yes, most of the predators will hunt honey badgers. Mina Moo, now there's lots of stories behind that. She's asking, can a honey badger survive a cobra bite? No, I have not actually witnessed it, but there are what I have been told and what few documentaries there are on honey badgers. They say they can recover from certain snake bites. Well, that also depends on how much venom is injected into the animal, I'm sure. Some snakes can do what we call a dry bite, where they bite but they don't inject venom. Others will inject everything they've got, depending on the stress of it. And honey badgers do eat snakes. Not often, but they do. And if they do get bitten by something as a spitting cobra, or a cobra or a puff adder, there has been stories of them being able to get past it. But until, that's also a story, it's like, how was it bitten? Was it feigning dead? Because badgers do this. But to actually, I need to meet somebody who's actually witnessed it firsthand for me to actually say, yes, they can do this. I have seen bits and pieces of film on YouTube and other video footage of honey badgers that have been bitten, and they almost like lie there for a while and then they come about. But I can't say for sure. So, well, there is some exciting news ahead of us. I believe Patrick has found the hyenas at the den site. So let's go over to him and see how he's getting up to.
I have found hyenas at the den. So we have this one little cub here, and there is two around the other side of the den right now. What they are up to, I'm not sure, but it looks to be a little bit of mischief, and this one going around to join in. So I'm just going to move. We do have an adult just up ahead as well. Who it is, I'm not entirely sure. They do have their back, that's just there. See if I can get back around to these cubs, see what they're up to. Whoa, something smells very strongly. I'm not sure whether it is the scat or whether there is actually some sort of a carcass around here somewhere, but something is giving off a very, very pungent odour. Do know that carrion can sometimes be brought back to the den by hyenas. For the little ones, they take about 6 months. Oh, there's another adult here as well. I don't want to spook it, so I'm just going to sit here for now. Maybe, actually, no, not Corky. And we are in infrared, everyone. It's just so you know why the screen has gone a little bit funny. It is getting to that time of day where we are losing light, and so we have an infrared camera which helps us to see in the dark without having to put out a light that can be detected by the eyes of the animals. So where these cubs have gone, I'm not sure. I'm just going to look for a wider route because here comes one now. Come out this side. Be good actor. Good star of the show. There we go. Hello. So if anyone does want to jump in with IDs, please do help me out. As I said, I haven't been with this clan properly for quite some time, and I don't really know all of the IDs yet and whose cubs belong to whose. I know that there has been, not recent litters, but litters while they have been gone. Terry, yes, so hyenas do have the strongest jaws in the mammal kingdom, so, I mean in mammals. So it's, ooh, this is testing my memory now. I believe 1,000 pounds per square inch is their bite strength, but it is very, very strong, and it's well developed right from then they are the size that these ones are right now. So they are born with their teeth fully erupted and strong jaws, and so they pretty much just come out ready to face the world in a way. Even their siblings will start to have a little bit of a rivalry between them as they do come straight out. And I've seen meat being brought back to cubs that haven't looked to be much older than 1 to 2 months. And they have taken it, so although they are on milk for the first while of their life, one of their pseudo-penises is extended there. I wonder if we can see whether this is a male or a female. It looks like it may be a male, I think. It is very hard to tell when they are this young, or very hard to tell even when they do grow up. Well, I mean, we can obviously see that this one is a mother here purely through social interaction, but by physical statistics, or not physical statistics, sorry, but physical characteristics. That's the word. Oh, doesn't that look nice? Yeah, very much like it was enjoying that. Nice bit of cleaning and grooming there from what I assume to be mum. Look how relaxed that hyena is. How's the face? That is just too cute. Sweet history, they are really quite adorable, and especially at this age, they're very clump. Whoa, whoa. Seb cops that too, I think.
Must be a
Yeah.
fart from one of them.
I think one of them may have fluctuated. It smelled gassy. Whoa, that was a horrendous smell. So hyenas' digestive systems are quite tolerant and quite strong, and so it's still lingering. That leads them to eat, well, just about any state of meat, and well, what goes in does have to come out once it's gone through that digestive process. And now we have some suckling, and because of this as well, actually, their calcium, I mean, their milk is very high in calcium because of the fact that they, well, have these powerful jaws and these strong digestive systems, which means that they can get bone in there and sometimes digest it as well, leading to a little bit of calcium, or a little bit of higher calcium. Littlefoot, do hyenas have dark tongues like lions? Well, from the hyena tongues I've seen, they're not very dark. And from lion tongues I've seen, they're not overly dark. They're not dark like a giraffe's is dark. That is quite cute, actually, the way that the young'uns sometimes... Oh! I think the word might have been barbed. I think I may have heard that question wrong. I'm sorry about that. What is this one doing? So, now, is it barbed like the lion? So, sorry, I did hear that wrong. I'm not actually 100% sure. I'll have to look into that one. I haven't actually ever looked into the tongue of a hyena and the structure and function of it. So that is something that I will investigate. Very peaceful scenes actually now. Again, this is what I was saying last night when I think it was last night when I was with the hyena cubs briefly. They were not very active at all. Actually, come to think of it, it's been kind of the theme of the last couple of days is being around animals that are usually running in an absolute muck that have been quite relaxed. Maybe it's me, maybe I'm more relaxed. And that's passing on to the animals. Do you actually feel it sometimes that the animals can kind of sense? Sometimes if you get excited about something happening, you can see that, or if you come into a sighting with some sort of emotion or something, you can almost see that it does get detected. Not so much that, they can see you're sad, so they're giving you sympathy or anything like that, but more so if you are a bit on edge or a little bit excitable or something like that, sometimes seems like it can translate, and the other way as well. If you are going into a sighting nice and relaxed, it can also kind of, I don't know, perhaps I'm not sure what senses would be at play there, but yeah, definitely things seem to run smoother. P. Hart, I'm just going to have to get that question again, sorry. I believe the question was, why is their feet so far back, the hyenas? And that is because of their shape. So the way that they are kind of shaped is that kind of slant. The nipples, okay, why are they so far back? So the teats. So the nipples are so far, well, I mean, they're not that far back. They're pretty reasonably placed, I think, for a mammal. But so there is a little bit of a dominance in this feeding between. We might actually see it now. So when we do have suckling between siblings, sometimes one will take a dominant position and the other one will take the submissive position, and that will come in from behind the legs, in between the rear legs. But no, in most mammals it is towards the rear of the body. One of the exceptions being an elephant. You obviously know that if you've ever seen an elephant suckle, it's right in between their front legs there. Humans as well being another exception, where the mammary glands are away from the abdomen. What was that?
Thunder.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was some thunder off in the distance, which was very unexpected. Anyway, I'm going to stay here and enjoy these little bundles of joy and send you over to Rusty, who still seems to be continuing with his search.
I am so happy. I am so happy that the hyenas den is active. He is very lucky to see them. That is really cute, especially those youngsters when they come out and play with each other this time of the evening. Oh wait, we've got lions. Oh, hello. Oh, okay. Sorry, we do have the Nkuhumas, I believe. This was a nice surprise, drinking at the pan. I think I can actually get a bit closer. There we go. Pretty ladies all in a row. I believe there is one gentleman right there. Oh, they are quenching their thirst. What a nice surprise. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for having me. I believe there are the Nkuhumas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I cannot say for sure. Is this the Nkumas? It was just my guess, but I haven't heard this on radio anyway. Okay, let me see if I can get around a bit closer to them. Isn't that beautiful, with their reflection in the water? Oh, I thought they were impala from a distance. So I just saw the colour in the corner of my eye. I was like, no, they can't be lions. And yes, they are. Isn't that, whoa? I'm way too excited now. Oh, okay. We get a nicely position ourselves right on the bank of the dam wall here and get a bit closer to them. Just wondering if there's any other individuals coming to join them. Hello, lovely. Okay, we're just going to stop here. They seem to be moving slowly along the bank. So, I believe these can be other Nkumas. I still need confirmation about that. Yes, please lie down right there. Do not move. Oh, they must have crossed over a few minutes ago because we're right on the boundary to another property, and they must have crossed over without anybody knowing, because I haven't heard any evidence of them on radio. But isn't that gorgeous? They're all walking up now. I wonder where they're off to. Linda, you're saying we're having surprise sightings. Yes, we are, but everything comes in different shapes and sizes. From the terrapins to the honey badger to the lions. So, just want to make sure we are going from IR. Are we in flare? We do have a special contraption. We're on flare, sorry. Now, the flare is a special camera that shows the thermal imaging of any of the mammals moving around. And that is especially lucky for us to have this, so we can at least follow them, especially when they go through a thicker bush and when we don't need to use artificial light on them. These beautiful lions. Where are you moving off to? They're definitely on the move. They definitely seem to be on a form. I think they're on the hunt. They drank, they didn't hang around. The lead female is moving off rather quickly. So we're just going to go back onto IR and see if we have a better visual. They are moving off and it is getting darker, so IR at this distance will be... they are deciding if to lie down. I think these might be the youngsters that are hesitating, like, nah, this is too much work for one day. You guys go ahead, catch what you need, and we'll come later. No, they're all sprawled out. Yeah. See the light reflecting back on the eyes. Excellent. I'm not going to lose them. I want to stay with them as long as possible and see what they get up to before the show ends. So if any of you do know, So if any of you do have the identification of this lion pride, I believe they are the Nkumas, but I may be wrong. I'm just judging from the numbers of them. So we're back on flare, and you can see the ones lying down and the other ones moving off in the distance. Now, there are roads all the way around here, so we can catch up to them very shortly. But the ones lagging behind are going to be keeping up. It is a gorgeous evening. The moon is only going to come up much later, so they've got plenty of darkness to hunt in. There is no wind. It's a very still evening. None of these lions look, when they're fat, when they've eaten a lot, they look like they will be on the hunt. Okay. So we can see them disappearing off there, but we are going to keep up with them and see if we have some luck and maybe see them hunt. It's going to be very exciting. Oh yeah, I've got goosebumps everywhere. And the elephant as well. The elephant, I already forgot about the elephant. Pata the honey badgers, now she's got the hyenas. We're on a roll. Now, I should be calling this in, but I'll call this in as soon as I settle down on the other side, because we do have other vehicles in the area. Okay, while we stay with these lions and go try to keep up with them, let's go over to Pat with those hyenas.
still have this one suckling away here, getting all of the energy and nutrients that it needs for its growth. And they do grow quickly, these young hyena. I remember when we first came to Juma, all those months ago now, when Plonk was a very, very young cub. I was so astounded at the rate that Plonk was actually growing up at. In the first week, there was even such a noticeable growth. I suppose it's the same with lion cubs as well. They both tend to rapidly excel through those first 6 months or so. I'm still getting wafts of that smell, whatever it may be. What are you looking at? I don't think any cause for real alarm, but there's obviously something got the attention of this hyena here. So just from observing these ones, I think that we have 2 siblings that are the ones not suckling, and then 1 cub here that is doing the suckling. Anna Marie, hyena milk is more high in calcium as they can digest bone a lot more efficiently than other animals can. So they can really get that calcium out of the bones. And as we all know, bones are quite high in calcium. And so this obviously leaves more available for their milk. And well, when people do think milk, they do think calcium. And we can also see the result of this in the scat of the hyenas as well. It's very white, very, very white, chalky white. And yeah, it's another dead giveaway that there has been some calcium running through that system. The whole social structure when it comes to hyenas is quite complex. They are what we call a fission fusion society. So a fission fusion society is kind of like one of our own, where there's core units, but they go off and do their own thing and then come back together, and they're not really ever at one time always all associated. They tend to break off and come back and break off and come back. Now, Cheryl, you want to know how old I think these hyenas are. If I had to hazard myself a guess, I would say, I think these 2 playing around here are younger than the ones suckling, but I think between all of them they would be in perhaps the 1 to 2 month range. This one has just been hassling the parent the whole time, just making circles, and that's what you get, a little bit of discipline. Oh, surely that didn't sustain an injury there. It looks like this one's limpy. Oh, no, it does. I didn't notice that before that little attack just then. We can definitely see that's a limp. You poor little thing. Oh, no. All good now. Must have just maybe landed on it funny. I do remember playing Australian rules football. Sometimes I would hurt my leg and think that I wouldn't be able to ever walk again. Or not really ever walk again, but very, very painful. And then you just walk it off and then you're fine after a few seconds. And maybe that's what happened there. Anyway, I'm very proud of Rusty. And, well, my gut feeling was right. There are lions on the property. Let's go out, catch up with Rusty and the Ingahoomers.
These cats haven't moved very far from where they were drinking, but they are pretty spread out. We've got 1 lying directly in front of us, as you see, and then there's 3 further on the road. I can just make out some silhouettes, but there's alarm calling of impala to the left of us, who have just realized there's some very large predators around, and I don't blame him. The smell, the air must be full of their smell now. But there's no wind, so I think that's why these impala came so close before they actually smelt them. They're all lying down, so I think they might have even spotted the odd one. So this is what this lion in front of us is listening to, the odd snort of the impala. There's a bit of grooming going on ahead of this young chap, right in the middle of the road up at the top there. Nope, they've stopped. It's a roadblock of a sort. Now, they were grooming each other quite a bit. They're all decisions of what to do. Little Swift, you're asking how many adult females are there and how many youngsters. If I'm correct in saying, without Nana is one of the older lionesses that passed away a few weeks ago. Without her, I believe is it 4 adults and 6 youngsters? If I'm correct in saying, I can't really see all of them right now. It's so hard to tell the youngsters apart now with them being so old. So we're just going to switch over to FLIR and see them in thermal imaging. Now I almost forgot what a lion looked like. It's been a while. And I thought I had all the updates on the Nkuhumas. Oh, there's something warm running behind. I wonder if it's a jackal. It just ran across very quickly. But these guys are all into grooming each other. So I'm just wondering, I did not see one of those Mangeni males. Now, he is quite an impressive size, but he doesn't have any mane. I did not see him within this pride. I wonder if the older evokers that were here the other day have pushed him off, as well as the other young male. So we know the 2 evokers were here, but I'm not sure where the rest of the pride was. And so I'm just wondering, oh, there's a nice back scratch, roll over, twist, look the other direction. Cheryl, you're asking when the young lions start to help with the hunt. It's just at about a year and a half. About a year and a half, they start hunting hunting with the pride. Or even up to just after a year, they will try help out, but sometimes they're more of a hindrance than a help. But a year and a half, they seem to be fully qualified to join in on the hunt. It's often where young males get pushed out at about 2 years, year and a half to 2 years, then they can fully they can hunt on their own. So it does vary. The females young females born in the pride stay with the pride while the younger males get pushed out. I'm just not sure. I just can't see if this youngster in front of us is a male or female. It's quite difficult to see in this light. There we go. Does it have... It looks like a female. I thought it might be the male. I can't actually see if that's testicles or not. I think it is... So the Mangeni male is definitely not here. I can't see him out of any of the ones that are here. So the Mangeni male is one of 3 males that they were youngsters when they arrived here, and they were full of mange, a horrible parasite that gets under the skin. And they were in such bad condition. And sadly, 2 of them passed away from that horrible problem they had. And then one of the ones survived, and he was looking very well. He was looking in incredible condition when I saw him last time. And his mane was just starting to show again, but he is not here with the pride. So I wonder if he has got to that age where the other males have chased him away. So while we stay close to these lions, let's go over to Patrick and his hyenas.
Well, let's hope that these lions decide to stay around for a little while. At least well, long enough for us to see them again in the morning. But as for us right now, we are here with the hyenas, the spotted hyenas, part of the Juma clan, at one of their den sites here. And well, it's starting to get very peaceful now. There was a little bit of play between two of the cubs, but I can't see anymore. But from what I can hear, they have settled down. The grass has stopped rustling, and there's no more rolling about from those little clumsy hyenas. I think that's one of my favourite things about young hyenas, is just how clumsy they can be, and they're always stumbling about, tripping over things and falling down, losing their balance. It's very cute. Not sure if we can hear that, but there is a hyena calling off in the distance. I can only faintly hear it myself, so it may not be picked up. That one was me, but that's just the sound that we are. It doesn't sound like we are getting the audio. That's okay. So hyenas, the scientific name we call crocuta. Crocuta, C-R-O-U-T-A, repeated twice. So it's quite an easy one to remember. And let's see if we can put them all the way up, all the way through. So we've got the species, Crocuta crocuta. The genus, obviously Crocuta. The family is Hyenidae. The class, the order is Carnivora. The class, Mammalia. Phylum, Chordata. Kingdom, Animalia. There we go. So that is the taxonomic classification of a hyena, right from kingdom down to species. I can hear something coming in behind us. I'm assuming another hyena. I'm just going to get my flashlight out and have a look. So it's coming from pretty much directly behind us. Don't worry about trying to have a look, Seb. I'll just have a look with the flashlight. Something's crawling about out there. I'm assuming just another hyena at this time of night, and there's no real alarm from any of the others. They all seem pretty relaxed, so that's made me think it might be another hyena. Oh, Lara Moore, hyenas do have such big noses, all the more to smell you with. But yes, they are. They do look very dog-like, these hyenas. I know they're in a family of their own and are more related to mongoose than they are dogs, but there is something about both their mannerisms and the shape of their kind of face and body that does make them look very dog-like. Now, this one looks bigger than the other cubs that were here before. So perhaps we have a fourth member on the scene here. But then again, I am only going off what I'm seeing on the monitor right now. I can't actually physically see these hyenas right now, as we are in infrared, and it is almost completely dark now out here in Juma. There's just a tiny, tiny bit of light left in the dusk sky, but not enough for me to see what is going on ahead of us. But thankfully, we have the wonders of technology to help us out with that. All right, well, it's all very relaxed here, all very slow and steady, but it seems like Rusty's lions are up and on the move.
Cats are on the move. I'm right behind them. I had to wait for the last one to get up so it doesn't surprise us from behind. And all of them are up and about. I'm waiting for them to settle again, but they're heading in the direction of camp. So at least we know we're going home. And I know it is the Unkuhumas now, and there is no sign of that one male with the mange. But yes, it was 5 males. This fight made up of 5 females and 6 cubs, but 6 youngsters now. But that's sadly that Nana, the oldest female who passed away. Sorry, I just went through a bit of a dip there, so I do apologize if we lose signal a little bit. I should gain signal back very quickly. I just had to get it to the other side. Okay, just before we lose them, we will keep going. I do apologize if we break up a little bit. It's a very common, I'm slowly getting to know all the areas where that we break up a signal. There we go. We got all of them walking on the road now, directly in front of us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there was 8 earlier. Now I don't know where the 8th one's gone. So we have a road full of lions. Now I can actually see Jamie's footprints on the road from when she was doing her bushwalk, and these lions are right on top of that. How cool is that? Oh, I wonder if they can smell her. No, Jamie's a very clean person. She doesn't smell at all. But they do have incredible sense of smell. But I'm wondering if they're going to go past camp and go and hopefully drink at the pan. And you might have it on down camp. Oh, they're going off-road. Where are you going, girls and boys? Where are you going? Stay on the road, please. Nope. They're coming to a bit of a stop here. Stationary at the moment. They're all listening, so they must be looking for food. I'm just going to switch off these main lights. Is that okay, Craig? Ooh, turn off my headlights. So they are definitely looking for food. Any bit of movement that's out there, they are focusing on. And I think the adult lionesses at the front are in the lead. They are guiding. Every time when they got up and moved, the youngsters followed the younger ones. So they are definitely on the hunt. So tomorrow morning, hopefully if they find a kill or find some form of food source on our property, we'll come back in the morning, drive and find them. Or if they hopefully come past camp. There was a herd of wildebeest out there. I'm not choosing which animal they're going to choose, but that's just that. Well, it is coming to that end of the show, and it's so exciting to have the lions back on Djuma. And thank you very much for all your questions. If you have any more, please just send them through for tomorrow morning's drive. It's going to be a good one. So good night, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you bright and early for the Sunrise Safari.